Hey everybody! Alright, we're back for another week. This is the Unreal stream, real-time stream for CG Spectrum. Dave's here, welcome. This week we're going to try to cover a few things before I get into more of the grind of rigging. That's sort of the idea anyways. And a few things going on this coming next week, and also a few things that happened last week. Hey, Darcy's here, welcome. And I think we got some cool things we can talk about before we get into the more boring stuff. Today, we're thinking this might be one of the last few streams. I'm not sure. There's kind of some conversation about winding down streams, but then there's also conversation about possibly seeing how we can intermix the streams a little bit more. Hey, Michael's here. All right. So that we're sharing it with VFX and stuff. Either way, I should mention that this time slot that I'm in right now for my stream is going to get used up with a class. So I will have to move the stream at the very least. So this, I guess it's saying, might be the last stream we have, but I'm hopeful that we're going to shift it and move it and find a solution where it'll work out. But it'll have to be at a different time slot, which is good for some people, bad for others. Depends on what part of the world you're in and what kind of daily schedule you have. And Michael finally caught the stream. And it's very late. So yeah, hopefully people from Europe will appreciate the newer time slot. But I don't know if I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's you can catch European people, but you lose Australian ones. So it's like it's one or the other. But anyways, we'll switch over to my desktop here and see what we got for some of the things we had this week. Basically, last week we had a very large, there was a virtual production week that happened, and I totally didn't know about it. But it was fairly large, and there's quite a large website here if you ever wanted to check it out in case anyone didn't know it was happening. And they just basically a lot of promotion for virtual production. I haven't spent a lot of time looking through it yet, but I know that there's a few things here that I do want to spend more time looking at. But it's pretty cool to see lots of examples of how virtual production is getting used, and where they're it's, lots of promotion really. I watched Free Guy last weekend, so that was kind of interesting. And let's see here, what else we got here? It's quite a large website anyway, lots of interesting things. So I just wanted to highlight that to make sure that it covered it, especially since we have a real-time course and virtual production is something we do. It's not necessarily something that I do on a regular basis, so for me, a lot of it comes out of my realm, just like in a lot of cases with virtual production. There's so many different people working in these different areas. So it's just a lot of learning and a lot of just trying to figure out how the pipeline works. So we're discovering that firsthand as we try to create the course, and we're bringing on different types of people for covering these different types of subjects to make sure that we have experts that help teach the content. So that's going on. Also, this week we have on the marketplace, there's brand new assets I was just taking a look at as well, trying to see if there's anything here that we could extract from. We have a modular house, which is kind of interesting to take a look at if you want to see how they broke it down into a modular layout for constructing houses, and what kind of assets there you might be able to reuse for different projects. So there's some pretty good stuff there. And in this meadows environment with lots of vegetation assets to work with too, that's pretty neat. And some blendable, mixable landscape materials. So those are good things. I don't really see anything that's super standing out as like, oh, we really got to explore that. But that's pretty normal. And then the last thing I wanted to cover was next week there is a game dev. Oh wait, hold on a sec. Michael says I just have to grab everything. Just grab everything from the free month. You have no clue what it does. Never know when it'll come in handy. That is exactly correct. And then over time, start to build up a giant library of free assets that you can like meander through when you're looking for something. It's very handy. I mean, like, you can't go wrong with free, lots of quality free content. Okay, so game dev is the thing that's happening next week on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. There is a game dev webinar that is helping a ton of promote our different types of game courses, and it's going to talk about sort of production pipelines, and we're going to have a few of the mentors that will be able to talk and answer questions and things about game dev, but also about how our courses are all interlinked. We've got programming, game design, and then we've got our real-time course, and then it all interconnects with foundations, so for learning how to model and animate. If you actually go to our website and you sit there for a second, scroll up and down or something, there's going to be a banner that pops up on the top any second now. Not sure if I'm supposed to click on something. I swear this is how it works. I did it just the other day. Oh man, how do you do it otherwise? It was supposed to be this handy little banner that shows up on the top here. It says about the event. Well, oh, events. That looks good. Let's go to events. There we go. Game day, open day. What I'm trying to get you to, what I'm trying to locate here is that you need to register. So, if you click on it, here we go. Register now. Hey, all right. I found it manually. Usually there's a banner that shows up on the top, but apparently you can't rely on that. So, go to the events, go to register, and we've got quite a lot of people registered there to go. So it's definitely worth, you know, getting your name in there. And if you miss it, you can't make it on that time, then you can check out the recording we have afterwards. But we had one for real time as well. But we've got the group from game design and animation. So as well as Maxine and myself and Alex for foundations. So we'll have a chance to talk, and we've made some video content and some footage of like different stuff. Dave's got a little bit of his work in there as well. So that's kind of cool. It'll be kind of fun to see how it works. And we've got some, yeah, good stuff there. So that was the rundown of all the new things I got. Andrea, I have a question. All right, sure. Shoot, what's your question? Andrea? Ray? In the meantime, feel free to ask questions or whatever you want to guys talk about today. I feel like it's going to be mostly just a grind of trying to get my M gear stuff working. I found a fairly significant issue that is I'm going to take a look at and try to resolve, but we want to make sure that this character is ready to roll. I'm going to see if I can get to a point where I can put some animations together today, because I think that's interesting without spending too much time trying to process. The big problem, I mean, is that when I grab my character and I know I've got this character fixed, it's lost its skinning. And I know it has a skinning because it's got a skin cluster. And this is the same issue I had with the tiger one. And I'm pretty sure it's related to the fact that I'm referencing in the model mesh. So usually what you do is you reference in the model and then you reference in the rig. But because this is M gear and I feel like it's working in a slightly more dynamic way, where the way that the rig and the skeleton gets created, there must be something that's happening here that's disconnecting the skinning from actually being affected. I haven't really proven that though, so there's a possibility that I'm going to discover that that's not true. But let's turn on X-ray joints. But I'm pretty sure. Now, one more thing I should check though is to see if the actual skeleton is moving here. Yeah, so the skeleton's moving, it's just the skinny's not attached to it anymore. So I had carefully gone through all this trouble of fixing this just before last week, and then I noticed it's all broken again. Michael says, why would you reference in a mesh instead of importing it? So the advantage of referencing it is that you can modify the mesh and manipulate it, and it doesn't break your skinning normally. Like normally it still works. And it would just be hooked up and connected. So it's a bit unfortunate that it's not working this time, but it really gives you a blank slate of your mesh to work with. And I know for advanced skeleton, this is even recommended as a workflow for how they set it up. So I'm not totally sure what the deal is, but anyway, we've got a different, it's basically referencing this model file, which is like a separate Maya file. And I mean, if you make vertex changes and things that are pretty significant, it will indeed break the actual rig. But if you can just basically, if it's just texture changes or material changes or layer changes, or like there's lots of little types of tweaks you can do, and you don't have to worry about, oh geez, I gotta like unrig something and rig it back up again. It will actually work fairly clean, that you can always have that disconnect happening. Would adding or removing vertices not ruin the skinning though? Yeah, well, it doesn't really ruin the skinning. It doesn't break the skinning, but it definitely makes it so that that vertex needs to be, it's just not going to act properly until you, just because it's, I don't even know what the workflow is anymore. Like, is it disconnect completely and you have to refresh the skinning, or I think you just have to go in there and modify it. Anyway, it's pretty destructive to change the vertices usually when you have skinning, but it's not that crazy to rescue, but normally you don't have to do that. Anyway, so to fix this, I'm just gonna basically delete the reference, which is gonna get rid of the mesh, and then just import it like the old way. And the fact that this rig is very easy to import, export, and change, I'm gonna count that MGear knows what they're doing and they got this figured out. We should be able to have a workflow that works here. Alright, so there's our mesh again. Andre? Sorry for the off-topic question, but I was wondering if it is required to do all the courses. Let me explain. Let's say I choose 3D modeling. I see there are 3 different courses: beginner, intermediate. Do I need to do all of these? Can you explain a bit, please? All right. So there's introduction, and then there's the main course, and then there's, in some cases, advanced courses, and they're different lengths. So the intro is a single term, the course is a 2-term or a 3-term. No, it's only 2-term, and then the advanced is a 3-term, and the 3rd term is a portfolio. If you're taking VFX, or if you're taking like game programming, it's a bit different of a layout where they don't have an advanced course, but it's a 4-term course. So you have your intro, and then you have a 3-term course. So it's a bit of a different layout for depending on which direction you're taking. If you're gonna skip into any of those directions, you'll have to have some sort of evidence that you have what it needs to move ahead. Specifically the advanced one. Those are the major ones. So if you want to get into advanced course, you can, but you have to show that you've done and know how to do everything from the previous courses, so that there isn't like this, you know, moment of like missing the fundamentals that you need to be able to get into it. If you're talking about real-time though, it's a complicated one, and we get a lot of questions about real-time and whether or not you can skip into the virtual production course without taking the intro. And the answer to that one is more based on what kind of experience you have in the past. If you have an animation sort of based experience, then you can, and Unreal, then you can possibly skip the intro. But otherwise, most people come in with this modeling background and then we're like, well, you still got to take the intro because basically all we cover is animation, and that's the key element. Do I need to do? God, thanks for explaining. Oh, right, awesome. I'm glad I managed to get an answer in there. All right, so we're back to our M gear mesh. I'm gonna try and bring in. This time I am gonna use a reference. I want to rescue my skinning. That's what I'm trying to do here. So I've got another file that I've brought in. That I think the way that I ended it last week was that I was trying to figure out how to get my skin rescued. So I'm gonna reference in another version of the rig which has the skinning. This is getting a bit confusing, but it definitely is a nice non-destructive way to rescue skinning, because I can what's going on here? Why do I not have my mesh? There it is. This mesh. So this mesh has skinning. It's very hard to demonstrate this because I have to turn something off. But let's say it does. So alright, I'm just gonna pick up one of these guys and see what happens here. Yeah, so we got one. That's the one that isn't the skinned one. But if I pick up this one, oh no, that one's not skinned either. Ah, darn it. Ah, that was my backup plan. Now what am I gonna do? There's gotta be some kind of like trick here that I'm missing. I legitimately don't know what it was that I did last week to be able to get this fixed. Because I brought all these files back and I rescued it and it was all working, and then today it's not working, and then my rescued files are not working, which makes me go, wait. How is it possible that I was able to rescue it in the first place? Man, I don't really want to start all over again. So one of the problems I was having last week as well is I couldn't export my skinning out, and we were having trouble with the export skin option. It just wasn't letting me even export it at all, so it would just error out whenever I tried it. Let me just try it one more time. And I did actually discover that there was some non-manifold issues with the mesh, so I solved those thinking that I was going to be able to make some progress, but seemed to be still stuck, so it didn't seem to work either. Oh, I don't have a skin cluster now. Really? Which one is this? Oh, I don't know which one that is. Why is it not this one? Oh, they got duplicated maybe. Alright, I'm going to remove this reference and we're going to keep going here. See what we can do. I'm not sure why that skin... Notice how this has gone into a different folder now? Like, this is the one with the skin cluster, but it's not a geo anymore. But this one all of a sudden showed up and it doesn't have a skin cluster. So what is that all about either? Try this again. We're going to import the mesh. Rig skin... No, I'm going to actually just import the model itself. This is the one that has the fixes to the non-manifold, where we had some vertices on the lower cheek that were connected to 3 different poly faces. Merge into selected namespace, rename incoming objects that match. Let's try that again. Comes in as a model, volcano mesh. This one does not have any skin cluster, which actually makes sense because this is the version that isn't skin. That's fair. I wonder what that other mesh was then. We'll try importing this again. This time I'm going to specifically make sure there's a namespace of the file name so that it definitely doesn't override or duplicate anything. That might have been my mistake, but I still don't think we're going to get some major things resolved here. Yeah, we still don't have any skinning. But we can see that this mesh has skin cluster and this one does not. Well, for fun, I'm just going to try and transfer it anyways. Grab the two meshes. Go up to rigging. Skin. Copy skin weights. The must have destination was served. Oh, wait, I forgot to put this. Actually does have to have a skinning to it. Oh, we got some questions here. Michael says you could always use advanced skeleton. Yeah, I could. But that would be sort of basically giving up on MGear. Does MGear create a dedicated export skeleton? Does MGear create a dedicated export skeleton? Oh, yes, it does. The way that UE4 rigs with advanced skeleton have the advanced skeleton joints and the export joints, and the mesh is only skinned to the export joints. So the way that advanced skeleton I've seen so far is it only uses a skeleton that is already an export skeleton. Because in that case, you could just use Amaya's native skinning tools and whatever rig changes wouldn't affect it. Yeah. The problem is I actually did spend some time last week trying to do some skinning. So there was actually some stuff I'm trying to rescue. Which, whatever, I could do it again. But, again, it's very frustrating to just like leave it like, well, it's hopelessly lost. Oh well. I'm like, come on. Had something. It's gone. So what it's asking me for is this old mesh, or the new mesh, I mean, sorry, needs to be skinned to the skeleton. So we have a skeleton in here, supposedly. That is part of the rig. There it is, it's just below here. So everything in here is the skeleton that's going to get exported to Unreal. So if I pick this mesh and then the skeleton, and I go to skin, bind skin, we do a real basic skinning. Max influence is 5. Apply and close. At least that gives us, you know, some sort of skinning. So we should be able to see the mesh moving based on what that skeleton is able to do. And then from there, you should be able, you're supposed to be able to take your skinning that you want to rescue from a different skeleton and a different mesh and put it onto the skinning you want. And it'll just transfer it over by saying copy skin weights, and you'll magically get excellent results. So let's see if it worked out. That's not excellent results, so that's not good. Oh, look at this. Nothing happened. It's exactly the same as before. So it really didn't pick up anything useful, even though, which isn't too surprising because this other skin has completely lost its connection, even though it's got a skin cluster on it. So, boo. But what it does mean is that we do have... Oh, look, the skinning's gone again. Wait. How did that happen? What's going on here? This mesh? Not attached to that skeleton? Has a skin cluster? Oh, did I just copy the skin weights to the wrong mesh? Maybe I did it backwards. Maybe that's all that happened there. We put the... reload the reference back in again. I thought it was like... How does it work again? You have to pick the... Must select the source and a destination. Did I not do it the right order? Source, and then the destination. Copy skin weights. There There we go. So that's actually what I was expecting, was that neither of them would work now. Because you're basically copying skin weights that don't work into an object that has skin weights that doesn't work. Alright, so it definitely doesn't work. There's like magical secret skinning inside of that skin cluster that we're trying to rescue. And it just means I have to do it again. So we'll just rough in something. The good thing about skinning is that you can actually do it midway through production. You don't have to like do it all at once, but it does make your animation look ridiculous. So I don't know how this is going to look out, but I'm going to do definitely a skin with geodesic voxel instead of just the one I did before. So bind skin, switch this to geodesic voxel, and hey Philippe, welcome. Nintendo. How goes? It's been a while if you're the same Philippe that I think you are. It's hard to tell though. Execution of melt line. We have the skin cluster already. Alright, I'm gonna clear out the old skin cluster. Delete the history. And apply it again. Now we have the skin cluster back on there again. Or, so, yeah, that's right. And we should have some manipulations going on here. I was learning how to use NG skinning last week. I made pretty good progress too. I was trying to get myself rescued back up to. Isn't there a way to bake out? Yeah, it's the same. All right, nice. Welcome. Isn't there a way to bake out skin weights and save them like an image file? I think Art V1 had a way to do that with UV maps, where you'd save out a skin weights. Yeah, so skin export weight maps is how you would do that. But I don't have any skinning to rescue. Like I've lost all the skinning. And I can't think of any other ideas of like how to get it back. Like, I mean, if I don't even understand why it's disconnecting first of all, but then what was the steps that I would have to do to like bring it back again? And what was I doing last week that managed to bring it back? I swear I had it back. I was able to rescue it and I was like, good, solved, fixed, closed, and then moved on. So I don't know, there must be something I'm missing. But yes, export weight maps is basically just creating images, like you said, of a black and white image representing the UV layouts of the character, and then each joint and how it's influenced differently from other ones. It saves a whole bunch of pictures, and then you just import the weight maps and it puts it all back in. The only downside with this one is that you're dealing with pixelation and resolutions of what your actual images are going to be, and if your UV layouts change, then you're not going to be able to re-import it again, as opposed to the copy skin weights, which will like do what happens when you do normal map baking, where it just basically does like a ray trace down of represents. Doesn't matter the UV layout, it's just if this vertice is where that vertice is, then it's going to receive the same amount of skinning influences for the joints. So assuming that you have the same joints in roughly the same place and the skinning in roughly the same place, you're going to get a pretty good transfer, even if they're like two very different meshes. So this is a nice solution if you do actually change the edge flow, the vertices and the edge flow and stuff. And it also works really nice if you have like a character who's got clothing and you just want to bring, rather than like try to paint the weights of all the fabric, you just take the base body and you copy the skin weights over, and it's just transforms that skinning through the clothes onto the clothes based on what it was skinned. So you just, basically transfer it easily. Hey, Lydia's here. Welcome. Someone else who's hanging out late at night. Michael says you could try to see if there's an autosave or an earlier version of the project files you're working in. Maybe an older version of the project will work. Yeah, so I all those files are on. They're actually on Tortoise, sorry, SVN. And so when I go and show the log, I have them all backed up, and I can go back to versions that have it. But wait, does it work? I don't know. I mean, I could try it just for fun. We could see what happens here. Hey Lydia, I think aren't you, oh no, that's a different person. Let's see here if I can get save skinning progress, update current state before rescuing skinning. All right, so let's grab the save skinning progress one. This is already basically what the other file was. And how does this work again? We go revert to this version or update item to this version, or I think there's one just for open. I'm just gonna open it. So it downloads it off of the server, and I think it even knows to open Maya. Yeah, it does. It opens it from like a temporary folder when you do it that way. Let's see if this one works. Because who knows, maybe it will. Even though it doesn't really make any sense to me right now. Ah, boo. We got two meshes, but this one has a skin cluster on it. But this is the big mystery. Is like, why? Why is all the skinning breaking? What am I doing wrong? I must be like doing something wrong. Questioning everything at this point. It's like it's possible my whole theory of everything is just not correct. So anyways, and I also have backups of all the other files as well. So I think there's a theory that I could, if I grabbed the skin model and the skin rig and had them linked together, it was going to work or something, but I don't know why, because this model doesn't have anything in it. It's just all in the rig file. So I don't know. I'll open up the skin. I haven't tried this yet. I'll open up the skin MB file and see if that has skinning, rather than referencing it in. What am I doing wrong? Yeah. See, this is the life of a rigger. Who wouldn't want to be a rigger? I don't understand why rigging is such a rare skill set to find nowadays. It's like just so much joy. Even Philippe got that joke. All right, well. So that's not gonna work for me either. I don't know. I'm really at a loss. It's just basically my lesson currently is to make sure that I don't reference it in and see if it doesn't work in that case, then I'm really like I'm in a difficult bind for sure, because it's like, well, what am I able? Of course, if I do figure it out, then I'll be like, oh, I can recover everything that I broke before. But I don't think it's gonna work out like that for me. I wonder if I could prove that if I just like save this and then close it and see if my skinning is still rescued. I was using NG skinning though, so it's possible that it's related to that. No, except for I had the same problem with the cat that I was doing for Marcella, and that was not using NG skinning. So look at that, it's still there. I don't know. Anyways, we'll keep going just like this. Maybe we'll do a quick rough pass of some of the skinning stuff again. We'll try to do a refresher of how to do that skinning workflow. NG Skin Tools 2. Open it up. Skinning layers are not yet initialized for this mesh. See, that's interesting, right? Initializing skinning layers. Let's try it. Don't think this is the theory that's correct, but we'll try it anyways. I'll do it to the other file. All right, let's do it. Initialize. And then skinning is still there. So there's a whole workflow that I probably should practice more about, like basically starting the skinning from scratch. Maybe it'd be a good idea to go over it again, even though that is kind of boring to do it. Let's just see here for this test. Yeah, still got all that stuff in there still. It even remembers my skinning layers, but it doesn't remember my skinning. Which is like, come on, it's all there. Let's do it. Even got my animation on there. Look, it's got skinning on it. What the heck? What's happening? What's happening? How come I can't change it, but I can change it? Oh, I can change it in some places. Oh my gosh, it's because I didn't do the foot. Oh my gosh. All right. Oh, that's good news then. So we do get to rescue our skinning. I forgot I hadn't done the foot yet. I'd done everything but the foot. So every time I tested the foot, it was like, yeah, I haven't actually skinned that yet. Oh man, that's hilarious. There you go. All right, let's try to rescue the skinning. So it does. So there you go. It proves it does work through referencing. Before I try to disprove that theory, it's also possible that it just started working also because I opened up this NG skinning tool. So let me just do a quick test on that too, see if we can lock down that theory. And if that's the case, then it feels good though. I mean, I'm pretty happy about this. Because I don't mind like practicing skinning, but it's just really boring to watch. Okay, and then all I gotta do is scrub it. Yeah, look, it's still there. It's totally there. I didn't have to do anything with NG skin, although the tool did just show up here, so, but it hasn't been technically initialized. Maybe it has. All right, so I'm gonna reference that in here again. We're gonna try and see if we can rescue that skinning. Let's see if we can do this one more time. Oh, solid crash. They're like, not so fast. Let's go back to the previous version. Go back, revert this. Try it again. Xanzulus. How do I clean up mocap in Maya, Unreal, on a rig, and then retarget on MetaHuman in Unreal? I've never heard this question before. Well, one of the tricks that I have heard from two different sources is that the best way to do it is to, if you're going to retarget to MetaHuman and you're using Unreal to do it, to retarget to the mannequin first, and then from the mannequin you retarget to the MetaHuman. Seems redundant, but it does actually help solve a lot of the core issues and gets the skeleton and the fingers and stuff all to come through. I haven't actually tried it myself though, so I don't know if it's that easy. But when you're talking about cleaning up mocap, it's very much a very specific workflow about what type of rig you're going to be using. And I personally would use Motion Builder, and regardless of what type of skeleton you have, you can characterize that skeleton in Motion Builder and then apply the motion capture or retarget the motion capture to it in it, and then do the mocap cleanup in that timeline. It works pretty good. I did do it in a couple of streams ago, but you said in Maya. So I mean, technically the HIK rig system that is what Motion Builder uses is also in Maya. It's just this tool up here. But cleaning up mocap in Maya is a little trickier, I find. It's not as easy as in Motion Builder. And that's just one solution. How do I retarget to the mannequin? It's a rig from a mocap company. Yeah, so I have Maya, but not Motion Builder. Yeah, you and most people. If you've already got the motion on another character with mocap, then bringing it into Unreal and using Unreal's motion capture or retargeting tools to pass it from one rig to the other rig is going to be your best bet for a quick solution. If you're really trying to clean up mocap though, like it's pretty dirty mocap and you got to get the feet locked in and stuff, then you really have to bring it into something that has IK controls. And in theory, you can do it in Unreal now using Sequencer once you bring it to the mannequin rig. So you can transfer your mocap to your mannequin rig. You can apply, copy paste a control rig onto it so that you have controls to clean up with, and you would clean it up in Motion Builder or Sequencer. But that's a rocky workflow right now. Michael says, I wouldn't say cleaning up mocap in Motion Builder is easier. I don't know if it was just my mocap data. Got it from an AI video website thing that was unusable. Well, yeah, I think that was sort of the point too, was that bad mocap is unusable. Like you can't, there's no easy route for cleaning up bad mocap unless you literally using AI to solve bad AI stuff, which is what some of the new proposed cleanup softwares are. It's just lots of crazy algorithms to figure out when the feet are sticking and when they're not, to save you from having to do it for them. But bad mocap is bad mocap. There's not much you can do about it. And it doesn't matter whether you're using Motion Builder or Maya or anything else. It's just, it takes you all day to get a small thing finished. And even then you're still like, ugh, this looks really bad. It's mocap company called Plask. It's okay. That's funny. It's okay level mocap from video to mocap, but the foot slide is awful and a lot of work. So I literally did a stream on exactly what you're talking about. That was like 2 weeks ago. No, 3 weeks ago maybe. Like I took a video, converted it in Plask, and tried to clean it up in Motion Builder so that I could get it to a point where it would work. But it really just highlighted how poor that mocap is that you're actually getting from it. It's not just foot slide, but also lots of vibrations and absurd amounts of noise and legs and flying everywhere. Yeah, that's right. Like even if you get the feet locked down, you still got this body that's like doing all sorts of funky things, which is just, it looks like bad mocap. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. Somebody will always go, mocap looks a little rough. Until you really start, like, you're basically hand keying it. And it's such a hard way to hand key something, you might as well just hand key it with video reference, rather than try and go through all this technical hurdles. Mike says, yeah, I've seen that video, and even a result from a video with green screen background and results were questionable. Yeah, exactly. There's one company called Move AI, right? I know about this one too. This Move AI does a much better job. And I think I covered that in the stream as well. where you can get multiple cameras, and they even have a free FBX that you get from it. Let me read the rest of your point though. They have the best video to mocap I've ever seen, but I don't have any solution for individual users or anything. They're basically just going for a Vicon. Yeah, they're high-end solutions. And they're using lots of cameras too. That's the other thing. It's not just one camera. They've got like a whole ring of cameras going on to make that work. But yeah, the solution's pretty good. This, even in this video clip here, you can see a little bit of shakiness around the shoulders and the chest and stuff. But I mean, if that's uncleaned mocap, then that's a really ideal way to start your process. You kind of want to have the least amount of work to worry about when you're starting. I went on the website, and to be honest, I couldn't even figure out how much it costs to get them. Yeah. It's more like a contact us and we'll let you know. I've emailed them. Oh my gosh. And they replied me, sorry, but we ain't got time for you. We ain't dealing with the little ones. We want the big guys. But I think this is like, this is going to be a lot of stuff like this in the future. Like, we're going down the road where this is going to become normal. And it just comes down to really smart algorithms and processing to predict and assume where the character goes. So, you know, it may not be free right now, but I think like what Plask is will definitely turn into something that is going to be pretty interesting like this. Just because it'll be able to predict the positional space of people off of a video really much better than we were expecting. In fact, I think I just saw a video about that today. I'm trying to think of whether I've got a ability to link it. I think it was on my LinkedIn, but somebody was showing like 3D models coming off of a video clip that were like very accurate. It wasn't a skeleton, but it was like a 3D geometry. I have no idea if I don't think I'll ever be able to find that on the fly here. To be honest, I'm very skeptical about some of these AI mocap companies. If you look at deep motion promotional material and the so-called uncleaned mocap data, it looks way better than what you actually get. I kind of agree with you. I also sometimes question what is clean and what isn't clean. Because it's very easy to like tweak it just so that you can get a little bit of better quality. I haven't seen this, by the way, before. This is new for me. They said they were focused on enterprise solutions, but they were interested in giving solutions to an individual and indie creators and producers, but the AI to mocap is definitely the future for mocap. You should check out one guy who got access to movie AI stuffs, but he's on YouTube. Is that Matt Workman? Because he sounds like somebody who probably would have got it. Michael, like, I can send you some of the mocap data I got from Deep Motion, and you can see it's nowhere near what they're showing on the website. All right, that's I'll take your word for it, because I kind of believe that some of this stuff has been slightly polished so they can put it on their front page. Because those are some pretty good foot sticking going on here. And then some of these do not look quite... They're all really huge feet characters too. Might also just be like really clean video data potentially too. Except for that's not clean video data at all. I don't know. Hard to say until you actually use it. So if you're saying that you got mocap data that was pretty messy, then I don't know. No, I think it's the Solo Man Jaguar or something. Okay. Yeah. It's something to keep an eye on, anyways. There's going to be something going on in the future that will revolutionize that. But if you do Vicon motion captures, you get clean data that's just as good as the best quality stuff they got there. So from like an industry standpoint, it still makes sense to just use your Vicon, because you don't have to do any kind of fancy stuff. You don't have to pay any third parties, especially if you've already paid for the equipment, and then you get nice clean data like that every time. Getting mocap from one angle. Those Move AI guys are using 8 cameras or something. That's a lot of data. Yeah, it's a lot of video data, right? And that's something to keep in mind too. We were dealing with some R&Ding 4D video facial capturing, and they have, it was like, I think it was only 3 camera data to figure out the 3-dimensional structure of your face in real time, and just those 3 cameras pumping out all that video data to a computer, storing it, and then trying to process it was like tons of labor and hard drive space, and you needed like all this video cards to be processing and calculating. It was huge, and you know, that was just for like, I don't know, 10 minutes of footage. So 8 cameras is much more, and you gotta manage all that stuff. Vicon, I wouldn't need to think about anything if you had Vicon. Yeah, that was a Vicon setup is like 50 grand or something. I think that's about that. I was looking at I think it was on Matt Workman, he talks about it. Sure, just grab a 50K. I got laying around and set up a Vicon tomorrow. Yeah, it's pretty expensive, and they don't make it cheap. It's not because it's just because they have such few clients that they don't undersell themselves. I've actually been in the Vicon headquarters in Oxford when I was in England. They've got this whole like setup where they have all their testing gear, and they have like different racks of all the really old cameras as they went and evolved over the years, and a bunch of people, like a whole group of people developing. I think now some companies are doing 4D facial mocap. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Faceware, Ziva, FaceGood. Yeah, Faceware, we were working with Faceware too. They were only using 1 camera to calculate the... And I think, honestly, like, this is just walking down the road of AI recognizing points and understanding how to manipulate it. I think FaceGood, I heard from Deepak, it's much better than Faceware. Was it FaceGood? I forget now. But it's, I don't know, the problem is with most of these companies is they're the third party in the middle. So you give them their data, they process it on their end, and they give you back the final result. So you have to pay for that processing. Although I think Faceware has changed their method, so maybe it's not as brutal, but it's like you always have to pay them to actually get results. I think it's cloud-based, so the processing is on them. That's right. I think Vicon is great, but it's very expensive, and it's a bit old school technology in my opinion. The optical cameras, and while balls are still been around, they've been around for a while, I think. Not possible for most people. I still don't quite understand what Ziva Face Trainer is supposed to do. I gathered that I think it's supposed to be an auto rigger based on meshes. Okay. It's very unclear. Yeah. Yeah, you and me both. I also don't know what the tech is for a lot of this stuff. And Ziva is like one of those ones where I'm like, I don't know either. The videos they released are just them flexing about how good their animations are, and that's as much as I got it. Yeah, they don't really tell you much of like the back end of what they're doing. They're just like, look at these results, and you're like, is that rigged or is it just, you know, a 3D scan, a 3D video scan? Can you interactively change that, or just a recording? So I know I think Vicon's still very valid technology. I know it's old, but it's still like really good at just getting exactly what you need, with minimal effort and minimal work. It would be nice if you didn't have to put like the markers on you and everything, but it really does get you good results. The technology has been really like refined over the last 20 years. Zika Dynamics horse rig is literally 10 grand. Oh, for the horse rig. More expensive than the real horse. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Is it me, or is the eyes of the girl from those videos, they don't look like live? There's no soul. Yeah, that's probably fixable through some good rigging. I think if Vicon do E. I don't think that was a finished sentence. Stream mod. Oh, it's the icon. Maybe I'm missing something there. You render over Vicon over markerless, then it could be a game changer. Oh, if they move over to markerless, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They have the ability and the technology to figure out how to do it. They might actually go down that road. I don't know. But they really, like, their whole technology is just basically shooting out infrared light with cameras. So those little markers reflect that light. And, you know, I mean, how else do you utilize that technology seamlessly without having some sort of reflection dot? And it works like in a sort of micro way too. We use it on facial capture. We had lots of little dots. And if you do it right, you can capture pretty accurate data from that. It even captures a little bit of rotation because of the fact that it pivots off of the skin. But it's, yeah, I don't know. It's never gonna. You're always gonna hit some sort of limitation with it because you're only getting points in the world instead of like whole meshes and flecks of the entire body. But it the data you do get is super clean, so you can like really you know, assign it and retarget it and get nice solid non-shaky data, because that little pinpoint in the world is every time it's exactly the same point, as opposed to like imagery where you have to like track a mark, and if the mark disappears, what was that point that you were grabbing before? Especially if the color all looks consistent. Like, you really you have to rely on AI to like get that whole 3D image figured out. Wasn't Vicon used for Avatar? Yeah, I think so. Although Avatar, from what I've heard, was just all hand keyed anyways in the end. Even though they had all this like equipment and gear and stuff, it's like the animators all just hand keyed it in the end. Vicon is really, really accurate raw data, but there's no way I can afford it. Yeah, I think that's the general consensus on that one. And I think Andy Serkis has his own company. Yeah, that's right. For Mocap, that he does like what they did for Planet of the Apes remake. Yeah. Yeah, he started up his own Mocap company about 10 years ago. Right in London, England. I haven't really followed in terms of, but it makes sense that he would, because he definitely knows a lot about it, and he can be a performer as well. So it works on multiple levels. Is this the one? What am I doing here? No, it's the one that's rigged. Okay. I forgot where I left off. We're having such a good conversation there. Rig. That's the skin one. Oh, look at this. I just recovered it and it has the, oh, I think I have to get the new tweaks, and that's why I don't have this. I don't know, it looks pretty good to me. Maybe I'll just use this. There's still a mystery about why did the tiger cat not work? It's weird. I'm just going to go with the rescue that I did before I saved it, and it's all good. So I'm just going to assume that this file is good. It's actually still using the reference. The skinning's still there. No reason why I should have to fix it. This guy, somehow, he got access to movie AI while not being incorporated. The pro, they lied to me. He's probably like got good promotional exposure for them, that's why. If he's a YouTube, then oh, there he is. Then they probably gave him access because of the free publicity. Kind of like how JS Films gets free mocap suits from companies. Beauty. Like the Perception Neuron gave him the latest suit. Oh, really? I didn't know Perception Neuron had a new suit. From what I've heard, Perception Neuron is definitely like the third best of the different types of bodysuits. I don't really know whether or not that's like, I've only got really one opinion from Deepak on that one because he has actually tried the Perception Neuron, but it's like interesting because I think that was the one that was Kickstarter. It's about as expensive as Rococo, yeah. I always thought they just renamed Perception Neuron to Rococo. I didn't realize that there was actually two separate divisions on that lower end spectrum. But, and then Rococo has a new suit too as well. They got their version 2 that's coming out this year and then new software updates. But I don't know. From what I've seen of Rococo, I'm not super amazed. Like, again, you're getting down this road of clean mocap versus dirty mocap. What's the best mocap suit which is less than X cents? Well, you've only got two choices at that point. Either Perception Neuron or Rococo. I mean, maybe there's other ones, but that's the only two that I'm aware of. And they're both, you know, at least 4 or 5 grand. What was X cents? It was like 15 grand? I think that's for the higher end model, from what I understand. I don't know. Hard to justify all that stuff. Because you're like, well, you're getting something for cheaper, but if you're not getting the quality, then does it make sense? I don't know. I mean, if you need that really good crisp quality mocap, then maybe just renting out a mocap room and doing your motions is cheaper than purchasing one of these suits. And like, if you want to do like props and stuff, you can't mocap props with mocap suits because they're only dealing with rotational data. So you've got to, it just doesn't work that way. So there's a lot of limitations with the suits. But there's some pros too. But like I always thought, oh, the mocap suit's great because you could like go out into a real world environment and climb upstairs and enter and interact with a 3D world that you can't do with Vicon. But they don't know how to deal with ground levels. So not until the new Rococo software apparently is dealing with multi-levels, but I don't know how flexible that is. So even the only advantage I felt like it had, it still doesn't have that ability. Michael, there's a way to there is a way to capture body mocap with HTC Vive, but then again, to get everything you need to spend $1,500. That's true. So that's the price, same price as the cheapest suit. I'm not even sure how the HTC Vive would be able to capture a quality body mocap anyways. It would just seem like you'd be getting the same quality as what Plas can get you, and that's free. Is Rococo even good? I've seen many people complaining about their software, but not a couple $100. But it's not a couple $100, it's thousands of dollars. And still not that great. Yeah, that's my thought on it too. I'm like, if you're gonna be spending that much money on a suit, then I don't know, you're kind of like almost, you're getting halfway there, but you're not getting what you need. But I guess it depends on what you're trying to capture. If you're trying to capture things that are very simple and placeholder like, especially if it's just like upper body shots, you don't have to worry about feet sliding, then maybe that is a good solution. It's better than Plask from what I've seen, but still not worth $1,500. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Couldn't even go to a mocap room because I don't think there are any in Ireland. Well, you're not too far from London, England. I know there's some there. Wouldn't be a short walk though. Yeah, I don't even know what the costs of renting mocap facilities are. I know it's gonna be getting up there pretty quick, but the thing is, you're getting good quality. That's the trade-off. Only time films are made here are filmed down the country where there's nothing but fields and there's literally 0 game dev studios. Yeah, I think there's some film studios, or at least lots of animation studios. Not lots, but keep seeing it every once in a while pop up. There's a huge gap in the market for affordable mocap. That's good, but regardless, it requires less gear. I swear, I think this is going to change. Like, you give it like 5 years and AI mocap is going to be pretty impressive. Like, there's already some videos about it. Let's see if I can find one. Just talking about the development process from NVIDIA and how they're working towards some pretty interesting results already. And like I said, I just saw on LinkedIn this whole body thing too. It was like really clean body data, so we're definitely, it's not that, I even think 5 years is overestimating. I'm gonna find this, I swear I'm gonna find it. I just have to look for the right folder here. Here it is. So this is NVIDIA's journey into virtual reality. And they're taking one input video, but you can see the feet are getting calculated for locking it down. So, which is solving the whole foot tracking issue. And then that's generally the big time consuming part, is just getting the feet to stop tracking or sliding. But the end results are a little wonky. I mean, they're not too bad for a single piece of video. He's in a Vicon camera area, so that's kind of weird, but maybe they're trying to compare the results. It looks a little uncanny, but definitely getting that foot locking happening because AI is figuring out what to do. So once you get that kind of involved into it, and then they're also using sort of a physics-based solution, kind of like what whatever that animation tool is called again. Oh, what's that animation tool called? I forget. So you combine those together and you're not even having to track visually what's going on. You just have to get an idea of what's happening, and then it processes it and turns it into animation data that actually is usable. So this is an advertisement at the end here. So I don't know, it's kind of cool. But this is, you know, fairly recent. It was just a month and a half ago. So it'd be kind of cool to see what results come from this. Yeah, with Omniverse. Cascader. There you go. Michael's much better at remembering that because he's actually used it. Oh, I've seen it. This guy's is definitely for the metaverse. Oh yeah, everybody's trying to shoot for the metaverse. And Omniverse, which is what NVIDIA is trying to do. I don't personally get the metaverse. I don't know if we should get into that conversation or not, but I still don't get it. Maybe I'll get it one day. It's just, I kind of grew up in an era where we went through this whole like Second Life thing that happened, like, I don't know, Second Life came out in 2003 or something, 2004. And I don't know, I've never really got it then either. I was like, really? You think people would just hang out in a virtual world and just, you know, rather be there? But I don't know, Second Life is still around, people still use it. But I still don't get it personally. I'm just like, no thanks, I'm fine. Real life is pretty interactive. I can find that, I don't know. But then there's also other arguments like, well, you know, you do, instead of going in your car and driving to the store, you just go to the metaverse and shop for the things you want and then purchase them. Which I guess is a solution, but isn't Amazon pretty efficient that way? Oh, with COVID. Yeah, I suppose with COVID, metaverse might actually survive. I mean, we are basically hanging around in the virtual world, like right now as we talk. Metaverse will become a Black Mirror. Oh, like Black Mirror. I don't know. Is that a movie or something? I don't know that one. Yeah, I mean, if this is all the metaverse is supposed to be, like just us talking to webcams and stuff, then I suppose that is a thing that could be possible. But like in terms of I'm gonna build beautiful clothing and assets so that everyone can use it, I don't know. Just it sounds like too much work. I don't know. But I'm sure there'll be people that will really enjoy it. I just don't get it. That's all my problem is. Wilfred, is it good to rig joints and joint orient options or using aim constraints to change local rotation axis? Holy cow, that's a tough question. Is it good to rig joints with joint orient options or using aim constraints to change local rotation axis? Okay, so joint orientation is important in some ways for when you're doing your rig, but it's also not as important as sometimes it has been led to believe, you know, like a decade ago. So it's kind of like a mixed bag in terms of how important it is. There are times where it's really helpful to have good joint orientation, and then there's other times where, you know, it's not a make or break. In the case of like an auto rigger like this, they're taking care of all that stuff for you in the back end, so you don't even have to think about it. So it's only when you're doing really like hand key, but like manual rigging is when you're actually even concerned about it. And in theory, it's really the controllers in the end is what the animators really use and worry about. So these are the things that really have to be oriented correctly so that it's functional. It's a TV show about how future technology will ruin lives. First 4 seasons are fantastic. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for explaining that. Now I know. Interesting. Future technology, but how it ruins lives. I've seen some pretty wild applications already. Like that's like pretty crazy. Like you can out a VR headset and then reset in a game, like in the field, and the gameplay gets captured and captured. And captured and recreated volumetrically and recreated in 3D world. Okay, so you're in a real world area, the VR headset, and it's being captured and presented in the game in real time. Same with other sports, some other sports, UFC, basketball, soccer. Yeah, there has been some stuff like that where we're recreating sports games in 3D that are happening in real life, so you can actually like sit and watch the game from in the stands. And I maybe see the reason for that. I don't know. I still kind of like the angle and the way that television presents it, because you get to see everything you need to right when you need to, but it borders very closely on with just gimmicky stuff. That's where there's gonna be a lot of stuff that you want to do, but it doesn't have an audience, and then there's gonna be some stuff that like will actually work. And I think based on conversations I've had with people, it's like AR and the fact that you can like potentially expose what's happening virtually in your real life world is probably the most realistic solution people will use, rather than being completely immersed in a 100% virtual reality. It would be like you're mixing stuff that's happening. Like right now, I would be able to have a conversation but not have to feel like I'm actually fully immersed. That is I could see actually working, but it wouldn't be like quite as imaginative as some of the films make it out to be. Your scientists were so focused on whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should. I don't know where that's coming from. That's probably something that makes sense, but I don't know why. This is pretty wild. This is what I was talking about. Oh, with the AR? Oh, it's a quote from Jurassic Park. Scientists are so focused on whether they could, they didn't think to stop if they should. Ah, I get it now. Yes, yes. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like things will change, but I just don't think it's going to be quite as hyped up as they're making it out to be. Especially not with like what Facebook or Meta is trying to do. But, you know, they can always pivot. It's not like they have to go down that road. I mean, what if you can put VR and then be inside the movie, and then you get to pick the angles you want to watch the scene from? See, they used to do this on DVDs. Like this has all happened before. There was I remember when DVDs first came out, it was like this whole feature in the extras. It's like, pick your scene, pick your shot, how you want to watch this shot. And you had like multiple angles you could choose from. So you just go, nobody ever did it. Because it was like, no, you just tell me what's the best angle. I'll just take your word for it. You know what you're doing. Just entertain me. But I like what you're trying to say anyways. It's interesting. I like the exploration. I just haven't quite found the connection where in my head where I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Let's do that. But that's normal. I think everything about the metaverse is going to take years for people to fully use it and live with it. It's definitely for the future generation to adopt it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, remember all the hype about VR? And it was like, VR is the greatest thing ever. We got the technology to do things we've never been able to do before. And then like, it hardly got adopted. It's not that it's bad, it's just, it was never something that people were like, oh, I need that in my life right now. I think it wouldn't be as good as watching something made by a good DOP. Director of, I don't know what DOP stands for, I forget. Like I don't see how picking different angles from a film like The Revenant is going to make it any better. Photography. Director of photography. Yeah, that's right. I was going to say production. Director of production. Yeah, exactly. So it's, you know, you let the talented people do their talented things, and then you just, that's the whole point of films. I mean, Facebook Meta, they are not the first one with Metaverse. It already exists. It's limited, but there's, you're not the first ones. Yeah, they're just trying to capitalize on it. We'll just ignore the fact that they dropped in stocks by like 50% or something today. Oh yeah, that doesn't sound good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I appreciate the exploration. I'm not gonna knock these things too much, but there's a whole bunch of that stuff happening right now with NFTs and Bitcoin and everything. And I'm just like, I don't see it. I don't understand it. I just don't get it. That's all. I'm not saying it will be successful or failing. I just don't get it. I haven't figured it out. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. We gotta finish the rest of the skinning. That's all I gotta do. Gotta get that leg figured out. Oh wait, I don't have my layers. But I got the skinning. Oh, I copied the skinning weights, that's right. That's one of the downsides of copying skinning weights. I did have this goal that I wanted to animate something today, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Maybe it will if I get really fast, but I don't know. Alright, let's see if I can get into paint mode. What are you laughing? You don't think I can do it? Come on. I've got 30 minutes. Easy. Leg, front. So I've done some of the spine ones already. And I've done the neck ones. I didn't get to the... There isn't a whole lot to this character, so that's why I'm kind of trying to be optimistic here. The eyes, I don't care about. Leg, front. Let's go to... That's a lot of joints for the leg front. Oh man, look at all those twist joints. Alright, that's gonna be a problem. Maybe I won't get through this as fast as I wanted to. It's a gray area right now. Are you using NG skin tools? I am. I'm trying to. I mean, I'm not very familiar with it. I've always just used Maya skinning, so I'm really trying to push into the NG skinnings, but it's like, it's a slow process. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, exactly. I should be able to do it. I have to, I want to change the number of joints in those legs because they're ridiculously high, which I can totally do, but then I'll lose my skinning because I can't export my skinning. So that's my problem right now. I want to export the skin, but I know it doesn't work. So I'm gonna do it the old way, I guess. We'll do the skinning meshes. It's incompatible with this method. So I don't know whether that's an M-Gear thing, or I tried to look up some documentation for it. I could not figure out what the trick was to get the skinning, to get the mesh to be the correct type. So we're gonna do the, let's do the export normal weight maps. We're gonna switch this up to 1048 or 1024. And luminance, so white and black. I don't know where it's gonna go. It's probably gonna go wherever my project is. Project is on my default projects. Oh wait, I get to choose. Never mind. Let's see. Source. Make a new folder for skinning exports. Open. I'm pretty sure the export that comes from M-Gear is more sophisticated than this, but I'm just feeling like that was the case. All right, 7 maps, that wasn't too bad. And then the idea would be that I can go back and change up my gear, my rig now. I've heard it's good, only don't know how to use it. Oh, NG skinning tools? Yeah, that's exactly what I was like up until about 2 weeks ago. And now I'm like, it seems pretty good. I only just barely know how to use it. So my vocabulary has changed a slight bit. I'm gonna get rid of the rig, delete it, unhide this, Shift H, grab my guides, which is in here. And what I'm looking for is, I gotta get to the leg, so switch this to X-ray mode here. We've got apparently a ton of joints that go from one side of the leg to the other. If I grab these red things, let's turn off geometry for a sec. And I go to settings with it selected. I get a special settings just for that red box. And standard component, alright. Points. Component selection. Full 3 IK bones. KFK blend. That isn't what I thought it was going to be. What is this? Squash and stretch profile. Visions. What does that mean? World space orientation line IK control. Maybe I'm in the wrong section. Maybe that's why I'm not seeing the options I want to see. Just put that back in. I don't know if there's another option. Alright, well, let's just try this experiment then. Oh, look, I even don't have the shoulder duplicated. That's not going to work out well anyways. Let's get rid of that foot. Take this and say duplicate symmetry, so it builds it from the top. And then let's see if there's anything fancy here. Does that save it? Yep. And then duplicate. I don't know if I have to pick the top thing. I don't think so. Global, right? So pick this one. Duplicate. All right, and then now we want to grab the root, and we're going to say build from selection. Builds the control rig again. I'm getting a little faster at this workflow. I really wish I had more time to practice this stuff. It's like, I want to be good at this, but it's just taking so long to get good at it. All right, so we're going to hide the guides, and I'm just curious to know. All right, there's still a ton of joints in here. What do we got here? Let's open that up. Front leg, yeah, look how many leg joints there are. There's tons of twist joints. I really don't need all those twist joints. And usually you get to sort of like choose. Michael says, I want to be good at this, but it's taking so long to be good at. That's how I feel about everything. That's great. That should be like, that really should be like a famous quote, for sure. Yeah, everything that we do here, it takes a long time to get used to. But you have to appreciate that, right? Because, I mean, not to get too philosophical here, but it's like that is in essence why you get paid for the job, is because it takes a long time to get used to. So somebody can't just do it for you. They have to hire you to do it for them because they don't have time to figure out how to get it to work. So when things are hard like this, this is where your potential employment ability is coming from. But yeah, you still got to be like super patient and figure out how to solve these problems, which is not the easiest thing to say to do. Easier said than done. Alright, well, I'm just going to skin it with that. Let's see if we can get the skins to be rescued again. I'm going to try and pick the Geo and the skeleton. And we're going to go skin, bind skin to whatever we were doing before. And then we'll import the skinning. Let's see if that actually works. Go here, source, skinning exports, main one. Boom! Wow, that happens a lot faster than I remember. Okay, so let's turn off X-ray mode. Grab this. Hey, there we go. Wait, I don't think it worked. Wait, it must have worked because I'm not getting any influence from the top here. But the way to find out is if the legs work. Okay, yeah, it did work. All right. The mapping method doesn't always feel like it worked 100%. Sometimes you'll get slightly off results. So that's, I don't know, that's what I found in the past. But you can always up the resolution more, but then you're, I don't know, I'm always a little bit nervous about using that method. Now let's go back to our NG skinning plan here, where we're gonna do some more skinning. I'm gonna make a new layer, and we're gonna try to do these legs with thousands of legs here. These are all on the right side. I want to do the left side. Joints. Turn on X-ray joints. We have that on there now. See that joint selected though. Oh, that's back legs. I need front legs. Front left. Ah, gosh darn it. I still don't see it. Oh, gotta get paint mode. Oh, I'm in a new layer. That's why it's black. I'm like, how come everything's gone black? Alright, so again, front, left. You can see we got right there. And then we go with shoulder. Let's keep the shoulder still. We're gonna set verts. We're gonna pick, let's hide the rig. This is where things go really slow because I'm like, okay, good workflow here. No. Try it again. Alright, we want to pick all these verts so that I can flood this. I am in such newbie mode right now. Alright. Hey, I can't believe that actually worked. Alright. And then we want to paint a bit more on here. So this is just the one joint. What are we at? 42 minutes. Okay, got it. I can do this. Easy, no problem. Let's go to the shoulder. No, let's do the spine. No, I don't know which one is the influence on that. Like front left. Alright, I'm just gonna work through here then. Everybody has theories about what the workflow should be, and I've never This has always been the workflow that I've kind of stuck with, was just, you just kind of paint, you paint, and you paint, and you paint. I don't know. There's all these other different ways to do it. I just haven't quite figured out the advantages to them yet. Oh, now we're at knee. And to be quite honest, I don't know why we aren't just using the automatic default geodesic voxel stuff, but the first thing I was supposed to do was clear out all the weights. So that's what I did. And it really means you have to do everything yourself manually. So not entirely sure if that makes sense in this context, but that was the idea. See, like, there's just so many foot joints. It's crazy. Like, how do I decide which foot joint I want to be using here? It's definitely overkill. So there's a leg front left end, and then there's the front foot. I'm not sure what that one means. Really got to do some tests here. Let's grab this control here and start keying that out. Right, it looks terrible. I don't know. I think there's a better strategy for doing twist joints like that, where you do like the top joint and you do the bottom joint, and then you like mix it together. The middle one's mixed together. I gotta watch the videos again and see what his strategy was, because this to me is like, it's way too manual. There's just, you should be letting the computer do a lot of the work for you. There is a way to kind of smooth out some of these weights, which I think will help. Basically you get into the paint mode here, there's a smooth, and you can soften. I think you're supposed to make a new layer for that though. Oh, was I supposed to also copy the weights over for the layers? That was probably one of the things I was supposed to do. That's probably why it was black. Alright, let's try this then. We duplicate this layer. We gotta copy the... Oh, how do we do that again? Tools. Over here. Copy component weights. Paste average component weights. I don't know. I'm really just experimenting here. No, that's definitely not working. Man, I got so much stuff I have to learn still. Well, I wish I was more useful for teaching people how stuff works, but I really don't know what the heck I'm doing here. Because there's definitely some elements here that I forgot how to do. Where I'd have to go back and watch the video tutorials a little more carefully. You can duplicate it. Oh yeah, that is what I did. I duplicated it. Oh, there you go. When you duplicate it, you keep the skinning. I mean, that's all I had to do. I don't know. Weird. So then if I go and try and smooth, let's grab some of the base pieces here and see if that end joint taking over some of the influence here would help. Problem with smoothing is that, like, you're not really supposed to do it that often. Like, you're supposed to kind of very carefully pick out your definitions of what you're doing, and then you kind of just do a smooth to help average out just a little bit. But because I can't really see what I'm doing because there's like 12 joints all in one little area, I don't really get the opportunity to smooth this out very well here. Very intelligently, I should say. Also very, I guess what's happening, I got a lot of influence on the knee, the top of the toe here. Let's bring this control out. Ooh, that control needs to be fixed. It's not even aiming in the right direction. Oh, I don't know if you're still there, Michael, but one thing I did remember how to do. Remember we were talking back in the day that we were like, how do you change IK/FK switches? I did figure it out. There's this little checkbox on the top here, MGear viewport menu. You can turn that on, and then that gives you the new contextual right-clicking that allows you to basically choose. You want to mirror different controls. What else we got in here? Select all controls. Reset, rotate. Select child controls. I still don't see IK/FK switching, but maybe these aren't IK/FK controllers. Anyway, that's how you get that option, so that you can use that to see if I can reset the rotate. Yeah, isn't bad. Yeah, I also want to know if it had IK/FK pose matching feature. Yeah, me too. Now that I realized that that wasn't what I was hoping for. What was the other thing? They had the synoptic options here. Mirror pose, key select, reset, transform, define, select all. Oh, you can't right click on these either. It's kind of complicated because this isn't like a standard biped character, so it's really hard to tell what their intention was for a lot of these controls yet. They all kind of seem to be all there. This is definitely an IK control here. So that's supposed to be... Yeah, it's not giving me any options there. I don't know. Still researching. Yeah. Another dig. Oh, so if you have an animation in IK and you want to convert it to vice versa, yeah. Yeah, another dig towards Advanced Skeleton, or against MGear. I can't imagine they don't have that feature though. I feel like it's there somewhere. Just haven't found it yet. It's like, that's it might just be a different way to use it. Some of the tab options you get is Baker, Biped, control list, visibility. Like maybe it's possible that Baker might be it. I should have put that one in there. Now I have to rebuild the skeleton though. Ugh. Do it. I'm pretty disappointed in my skinning ability so far, so not super concerned about what I've done. I'm also a little bit unsure whether I even approached it correctly. Exports, weight maps. Go back, source, beginning. Oh, we got 15 maps this time. I wonder if NG Skin Tools had an export option. Never even checked. Well, off the top, I don't see it. Yeah, well, I don't know. Some people have said that you wrote a good thing. Advanced Skeleton is just how streamlined it is. I've talked about how it's actually really a clunky workflow, and I've never really gotten too comfortable with it in terms of rigging. I know it's very flexible in terms of what you can accomplish, but I don't know. I'm also really trying to make M-Gear work because I want it to work, but if some of these hang-ups really are pretty significant, then it's like maybe it's too early. What was I gonna do? Guides. All I have to do is really pick it, and then we do rebuild from selection and see what the synoptic options are for bake. There's our rig. Didn't at all bake it in the right place. Why is the whole thing shifted? Oh boy. Must have accidentally moved it. At least for animating, it's great. Yeah, I don't mind animating with it either. Pretty good. I mean, and it's, you know, well, what's the word? Not polished, but well, I guess you could say polished, but tested in the industry for, like, you know, its usability. So there's a lot to be said for that, especially since the options are pretty meager when you look at Maya. Until you start getting into really custom made solutions. Let's see if I can get to this whole thing, the reason why I did all this. Now we have a baker. Bake springs, clear bake springs. That was it. That was all I did. I should have turned on all the stuff. Let me do this again. Settings. Grab the guide. Let's get all these ones over here. I don't know why Python cache needs to be over there, but I'll just put it in there anyways, see if it actually works. And build from selection again. Alright, what do we got? Baker, visibility. Oh, yeah. You can key it? Is that the idea? Visible, hidden, objects, control list. Like picking like objects. Picking controls. Oh no, I'm not. Oh, these are like the actual shaped controllers. Huh. wonder why you'd want a list for that. Oh, biped. Look at this. We got a whole bunch of stuff. IKFK arm right. IKFK arm left. Why is there one on this side and one on that? Oh, left hand, left. Oh, this is the legs. Okay. That might be it. The IKFK switch. Maybe you're just picking a controller that has it. I don't have a biped character though. Mine's a quadruped, so maybe it's not designed to be able to handle outside of its own setup. Not picking up any of these objects. IK position. Huh. Mirror pose, flip pose. Well, I don't know. There's something there. You have to actually make a biped to find out what it works like. But maybe I could do that at another time. Do some kind of like metahuman stream or something that I was thinking about doing, or do it at the open session or something. Because I've always been kind of trying to do that as well. I really thought I was going to get further with this dinosaur thing, but he didn't work out too well. So I've got to sit down and really learn how to skin properly and get that polished up, so I have a good workflow for how to approach it. And then I can get to animating it to find out how the animation tools feel like, and then tweak it. Because even right now, when I grab one of these controllers, I'm like, whoa, your pivot point is way not right here. So that I have to correct. Make sure that gets created in a way that is accurate to the way the foot. I think the idea was the foot was supposed to go this way, I guess. Maybe that's what it was all about. But yeah. Alright, well, I guess it's hit the top of the hour, so I guess I can call it quits. But this is technically the last stream that I'm going to have at this time slot. So if anyone who is watching comes back, make sure you check what the schedule is. And see if there's a possibility we're going to stop doing streams. I don't know. It depends on whether we can line up another plan or not. But generally, I've got a class next week at this particular time slot, so I won't be able to do the streams at this set of hours. So I'm going to try to shoot for earlier if I do get a different option. And we might do every other week, something like that. It's sort of in the talks right now. But anyway, I appreciate everybody who's come to join me. We had a great conversation about metaverse and various mocapping things, which is always good and relevant. If you guys have anything else that you wanted to add, make sure you bring it up. And I will see you guys again next time. Hey, Philippe, thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. All right, guys, all the best. Talk to you later.